Cheesy the Podcast, presented by Just Cheesy Productions.
Hi there, I'm your host Fondue.
I'm Cheesy.
In this week's episode, we're talking all about movie lines and cheese.
Whoa.
We're going to talk about apple pie,
Ooh.
a cheeseburger,
What?
cheesy blasters, and cheeseballs.
Whoa.
We're going to talk about a block of cheese, stinky cheese, and a new menu item at McDonald's.
Wow.
And of course, no episode would be complete without our very cheesy joke.
I love jokes.
Stay tuned for episode 144, Royale with Cheese, on Just Cheesy the Podcast. You know, Cheesy, there are a few movies and TV shows that have really made cheese popular.
Really?
In an article on Mashable.com, they list 17 different quotes about cheese from movies and TV.
Whoa.
One of the most iconic ones in my mind is from the 1994 movie Pulp Fiction.
Ooh.
In the movie, the main characters, Vince and Jules, are actually talking about differences between the U.S. and other countries.
Oh, yeah.
In the dialogue, they talk about the quarter pounder with cheese at McDonald's. And according to Vincent in the movie, he says that the quarter pounder with cheese is actually called the Royale with cheese in France.
Royale with cheese.
And what's the need to change the name in France, you say? Well,
Yeah.
according to LinkedIn.com, they say that having terminology that a customer can understand is crucial to understanding cultural nuances.
Whoa.
The line in Pulp Fiction actually identifies this
Really?
because in France they use the metric system.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the French wouldn't know what a quarter pounder is
Yeah.
because that's a different type of measurement that we use in the United States.
Yeah.
We've also got a link in our show notes to McDonald's in France.
Whoa.
And it looks like they've got something called a cheeseburger royal,
Ooh.
a cheeseburger royal bacon, and a double cheeseburger royal.
Ooh la la.
In the Mashable.com list, number 3 goes to TV's Schitt's Creek.
Oh.
In their season 2 episode called Family Dinner, the character Moira is trying to read a recipe to her son David.
Oh.
And according to this article, they actually say the words fold in the cheese more times than any other on-screen endeavor.
Whoa.
Obviously, hilarity ensues when
Yeah.
neither of the characters actually know what folding in the cheese means.
What does it mean?
According to americastestkitchen.com, they tell us how you can actually fold in the cheese.
Oh, good.
The article goes on to ask the difference between folding in and adding it and stirring.
Yeah.
They say here that bakers will tell you that it means to very gently incorporate an ingredient by sweeping the spatula around the mixing bowl and then turning it lightly,
Oh.
as if folding the mixture in on itself. And they
Oh.
say you do it tenderly so you won't deflate the batter.
Aw.
They also say it's used when incorporating whipped egg whites or whipped cream.
Whoa.
You add a small portion first to lighten up the batter,
Okay.
and then you fold in the rest.
Ah.
They say this keeps the whole thing light and airy. And then when you want to fold in ingredients like cheese,
Yeah.
they say you don't want to overmix.
Oh.
The article has a really good looking recipe for cheesy mashed potatoes.
Yeah, it does.
And they say the goal is to add 2 cups of shredded cheddar very gently to
Okay.
keep the potatoes light and not gluey.
Ooh.
So they say the next time you see fold in your recipe, you want to keep it gentle.
Nice.
Now, we wanted to talk about another line in a movie.
Yeah.
In fact, this was the inspiration for this entire episode.
Yeah, it was.
One of our Cheeseball listeners
Yeah.
sent us an email after we talked about apple pie and cheese.
Yeah, thanks.
In their email, they let us know that cheese on apple pie is the subject of a pivotal scene in the film Thank You for Smoking.
Yeah.
And it was directly responsible for William H. Macy's line, "The great state of Vermont will not apologize for its cheese."
Whoa.
One of the characters in the movie actually orders a slice of apple pie with cheese, while the other
Yeah.
says it's disgusting. He says it's American.
Oh.
But did you know that this isn't the only movie that actually talked about apple pie with cheese?
It isn't?
The narrator in the movie Taxi Driver says the following iconic line: "I had black coffee and apple pie with a slice of melted yellow cheese."
Wow.
The TV show The Office was no stranger to cheese.
Whoa.
In season 6, they had a makeshift cheese cart
Oh, yeah.
where they tried to make it sound fancy when they had American cheese singles, Parmesan shaky cheese, and blue cheese dressing.
Ooh.
According to ScreenRant.com, they used Cheeseballs as an opening to a season 5 episode.
Whoa.
According to this article, the episodes were typically very well scripted.
Oh, yeah.
In this particular scene, they actually said it was uncharacteristically slapdash. In the show's opening, the character Pam says, There's no limit to the number of cheese balls you can throw at someone's face.
That's true.
There's a clip to this hilarious scene in the Screen Rant link in our show notes.
Yeah.
Utz brand cheese balls are not a sponsor.
Nope.
But if they were, their ad would go right here. Have you ever wanted to listen to the web?
Yeah.
Well, Newsly makes that possible.
They do?
They're an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android.
Super app.
You can listen to trending articles on the web on topics that you choose and get them read to you in a natural human voice.
What kind of topics?
Sports,
Cheese?
tech, business, science.
Cheese?
I'm sure there's even cheese.
Yay!
They even have an entire section for podcasts.
Are we there?
Of course we are.
Ooh.
It's one of my new favorite podcast apps. They even have digital radio.
Holy cow.
Just go to www.newsly.me to download it free.
Whoa.
Or use the link in the description. If you use the promo code CHEESY, that'll get you 1 month free premium subscription.
Yay, Newsly.
Now, back to the podcast. There's a great website called movie-sounds.org.
Yeah.
They showcase a lot of different movie clips about cheese.
Yeah, they do.
Like when Buddy the Elf says, "You smell like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa."
Yeah.
And a quote from Shrek saying, "Found some cheese. Awful stuff."
Aw.
Did you know one of the most expensive lines about cheese happened on TV?
Really?
According to Mashable.com, the show 30 Rock, in episode 19, season 3, their character Liz gets all cozy in her Snuggie and she wants to work on her night cheese.
Oh, yeah.
And she makes up a song inspired by Bob Seger's Night Moves.
Oh, yeah.
According to the article, the song only lasted around a second.
Whoa.
And the catchy tune wound up costing the network about $50,000.
Holy cow.
According to ASCAP.com, actual fees for existing songs can range between $15,000 and $60,000.
Holy cow.
They say the fees are negotiated in the context of each individual film.
Wow.
And that the song can be licensed at a very different rate for different projects.
Okay.
Did you know that if the title of an opening credits song is also used as the title of a film, but they say here the film's plot is not based on the storyline of the song, the fees are increased further from $75,000 to over $500,000.
What the holy cow?
30 Rock didn't just sing an expensive song about cheese, but they also talk about something called cheesy blasters.
Oh.
They say this is a culinary concoction.
Ooh.
It's a hot dog stuffed with jack cheese
Ooh.
folded in a pizza.
Whoa.
Binging with Babish actually makes a real-world version of cheesy blasters and also makes a gourmet one.
Oh, my goodness.
He takes what looks like a frozen pizza, rolls in a hot dog and some jack cheese,
Yeah.
and it looks amazing.
Amazing.
But if you want something fancy, he actually takes some mozzarella
Yeah.
and some basically pizza meats and puts it in a pizza crust and makes a calzone that looks very amazing.
Yummy.
The iconic TV show Seinfeld also talks about cheese.
Really?
George, one of the characters, is talking about being single, and he talks about eating a block of cheese the size of a car battery.
Whoa.
According to the website eatthis.com, they recommend not eating an entire block of cheese every day.
I guess.
Cheese can add a lot of sodium, saturated fat, and calories to your daily diet.
Aw.
And while it's not recommended to eat an entire block,
Yeah.
cheese can be a good source of high-quality protein, calcium, and other nutrients,
Yeah.
like magnesium and vitamin B12.
Ooh.
Maybe eating a block of cheese is not for you,
Yeah.
but maybe eating stinky cheese is.
Ooh.
According to NPR.org, the Wallace and Grommit movie, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, talks about something called stinking bishop.
Ew.
And according to the character Mr. Martell, he said the reason it's called stinking bishop is actually it's one of the varieties of pear that grows in this part of England,
Okay.
which in turn was named after a man called Bishop, who was an unsavory character and very impatient.
Whoa.
When he couldn't boil his kettle, he shot it.
Oh, no.
So he was a bit of a local character. The character went on to say he bred this pear originally in the middle of the 19th century,
Whoa.
and his nickname got attached to the pear, which then now has become attached to the cheese.
Wow.
And according to teddingtoncheese.co.uk, this cheese is similar to the famous French époisse,
Oh, boy.
which has been banned from public transport in Paris.
Whoa.
That is some stinky cheese.
Yeah, it is.
I'm ready for my favorite segment.
This week in cheese.
According to SoraNews24.com, McDonald's in Japan has a new menu item.
Really?
They have some savory pies.
Ooh.
Apparently, they have something called the bacon potato pie and the cheese bacon potato pie.
Ooh, yum.
The pie has 2 kinds of melted cheese,
Ooh.
creamy potatoes,
Whoa.
chopped onion, and smoky bacon pieces.
Yum.
It looks like a Hot Pocket, and it looks delicious.
I'm ready for a joke, Fondue.
Okay, why was cream cheese left out of the movie?
I have no idea.
Because it couldn't make the cut.
Oh.
Get it? Because cream cheese is hard to cut?
Yeah, it's silly.
Well, I thought this one was funny and a little bit cheesy. Thanks for listening to Just Cheesy the Podcast, episode 144, Royale with Cheese.
Thank you.
If you have an idea for a future episode, please feel free to email us at info@justcheesy.com.
And stay cheesy, everybody.